Boom! What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Fragrance video number 3 in the past 3 weeks. So you're welcome in advance for once again getting the greatest fragrance reviewing duo on YouTube back together. This time, the table a little more Christmassy themed. It's getting into the holiday season, so shout out to the James family for that. But today, we're going to be reviewing and just kind of talking about what I believe to be the greatest discontinued men's fragrance of all time. And that would be Juan de L'Homme YSL's Blue Electrique. Produced and published, came out with in 2021, but discontinued, I think, literally just months after it came out. So it's been discontinued for a couple years now, but this fragrance has gained so much traction. And if you're in the fragrance community, you know this fragrance is a gem. And we now have something bigger than decant of it. We have a 60 mil. We got a 60 mil of it. So just kind of me talking about it, going, reviewing the fragrance, and just kind of sharing our love for it. Because I think Canyon loves this fragrance just as much as I do. You have anything you want to mention before we jump into it?
Nope, let's go.
All right. So we don't have it. Well, we don't really have a box, any presentation. This isn't a first impressions kind of ordeal. But we're just going to talk about this. So y'all kind of know the Juan de L'Homme line from YSL. It's way different than the YSL Y line. I mean, I think this whole line of fragrances, whether it's the OG, like one of the top 10 best-selling men's fragrances ever, the Le Parfum, Blue Electrique, any of the other like flankers that have come since the original, this line is just kind of known for being honestly kind of the opposite, I think, of YSL Y. You think of YSL Y, youthful, sweet, loud. I think this is kind of like the older gentleman's YSL. Like, this is for a man, I think any of the flankers, to be quite frank with you, are a great evening scent, really sophisticated, elegant, date night-esque. I don't see like your average middle schooler wearing this. I just don't. It's just kind of how the fragrance comes off. But tell the people what you thought this fragrance smells like, because we're going to jump into the notes, but you'll like his.
A lot of people say, like, you hear the barbershop vibe in fragrances. Some people understand it, some people don't, but this is heavily into that vibe of just smells like a barbershop. Kind of like, you know, you get barbershop, like, little trees and stuff. Like, it's like in the same family. It just smells like a barbershop to me.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. I think this is like even a strong barbershop. Mm-hmm. I think this is its own thing. We've both put our nose on so many fragrances at this point, like totally cooked our noses. But I don't know if I've smelled anything similar to this. Just because of, I mean, we're just going to ignore how obnoxiously blue the liquid is. I guess that's true to the name. But even besides the liquid and like the unique bottle design, anything like that, this straight up is one of the most unique smelling fragrances there is. Like, if I'm not going to say it's a spice bomb level of spice, but it's a very spicy fragrance. I think Fragrantica even described it as a warm spicy. You get cardamom, ginger, bergamot on the top. I think you get a lot of ginger in here. That's just kind of what I pick up on. Ton of lavender and geranium in the mid, and then cedar and vetiver in the base. And so that kind of pyramid kind of adds up to kind of create this, yes, fall and wintertime scent. I would say more so for the nighttime. Just this really like spicy, sophisticated, and I guess masculine edge to it with like the vetiver, for example. It's kind of sweet, but I'd also say it's pretty straightforward and dense in terms of maturity and the spiciness that comes off the top.
I think it changes really quickly out of the gate on the skin. You get like, it's really, really sweet at the beginning, and then it starts drying down a little bit, and you start getting, you get the lavender in there, and then a little later on, you start getting a little bit of woodsy to mix in with it. It's very, very nice, and it's very unique. As you hear every episode, I like unique stuff. So.
Yeah. We ain't out here reviewing, as some of y'all caught on a couple weeks ago, we're not reviewing Dior sausage every week. I mean, we're trying to get our hands on stuff that nobody's going to be wearing. And this is one especially, too. It kind of keeps that spiciness throughout. And there's just like a warmth to it. And I don't know why this word has popped in my head. To me, this fragrance is almost like welcoming. Like, it's almost an inviting spiciness. It's classy. It's mature. Like, if I'm wearing this, I'm not going to the local trash dump, or I'm not going to the grocery store. I'm going like out to eat at a nice restaurant, or going to even like Biltmore Park in Asheville. Like, I'm going somewhere kind of upscale, upbeat, because this fragrance kind of conveys that. And honestly, I think, have you given this any like official wears since?
Yeah.
Okay, how's the longevity and projection?
I think they're both pretty solid. YSL is pretty good with both. In both lines they have that are popular. Both of them are really well in the longevity, especially you got the different lines going, but all of it really does the same thing. It's all very nice. It's mass appealing, like mostly everything they make. So you can't go wrong with it. It's just finding things like this is hard, but if you do and you find a good deal, you got to take it, kind of like I did. So
Yeah. So this could I honestly probably serve as a segue, because like obviously if we're talking presentation, I like the bottle a lot. I think it's got a unique. I mean, the cap's a little funny just to look at because it's way bigger than the actual bottle, but the presentation's fine. We've tried to hammer in the smell, but most y'all in the fragrance community are probably familiar with the smell of this scent as is. But now you kind of made this segue. But in terms of picking up this fragrance, like real practical, most of the stuff we reviewed, any of our top 5 fall fragrances, summer fragrances, anything you'll get from Sensual Obsessions, like it's very readily available. And you can go get it now, you can go get it tomorrow, you get it a week or 2 weeks or 2 years from now. Like, it's going to be there. But this is getting harder and harder and harder to find, and especially from a reputable source. Even before this video, I think I still have the receipts. I was just looking on eBay on my iPad just to see what kind of pricing and availability this fragrance has. And so let's just go off the dome. Handy dandy iPad. I got the eBay pulled up, because let's just talk about how accessible this fragrance is and how you're going to get it, because obviously it's so good, and we'll give a rating at the end, but how much are you willing to pay? Well, first result that pops up, you're paying $398.99 for a 100 mil. This is a 60 mil, so you're getting a little bit more, but almost $400. A 60 mil on here is $175 in the box, sealed. Spoiler alert, he didn't pay $175 to get this fragrance. Another sealed 2 ounce, 60 mil, $199. Another 3.3 or 100 mil, $298.99. $195 for 100 mil, $160 from Morocco for a 60 mil, $240 for 100 mil. I mean, y'all get the point here. This fragrance is incredibly expensive, and here's the worst part. I don't think you can find it on any major, not even in retail, and definitely not at discounters. Not Joma Shop, not Aura Fragrance, not Fragrance Buy, not Fragrance Net, not Olfactory Factory. Like, you can't find it anywhere on any of the reputable sources, and even on sites like DecanX or Decan House, it's always sold out. And so, unfortunately, I think that kind of leads me to advise y'all. I guess you just have to be careful, and I think eBay might have to be the best avenue, but you have to go from a seller that has good feedback, because they will sell you like a red electric instead of a blue electric, and they're going to totally try to scam you. So, I mean, you got any tips in terms of how to find this thing? Because it's too good not to have. Let's be real.
Well, you're probably wondering how we got it. I got lucky and know someone that had it, and they have millions of fragrances, so they weren't wearing it, and they knew how much I enjoyed it from the first time I smelled it. So he gave me a really good deal on it, but if you're not that lucky, then you're going to have to just search through reviewers and make sure they have good reviews, the sellers, and if they do have good reviews, well, they know what they have, so there's no telling what they're going to be selling it for, so that's also an issue. And it's going to be hard to get like a little sample of it, because we don't try to tell you to blind buy things.
No.
Especially if they're, more on the expensive side. So
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to even find a sample before you blind buy it, but I just got lucky. But if you're able to find it somehow, do it. But do not buy a full bottle first. You need to get a sample always first just to see.
That's fair. Unless you're like really knee deep into fragrances and you're just into blind buying stuff, then I guess. But I'm with him. Smell it first. Know what you're getting before you even try to spend the money to get it. We even looked because, spoiler alert, and we're going to be open about this, we've been getting into clones here recently and dupes. We're to that point now in our fragrance journey. And I think he found a dupe that had a higher review than the actual Blue Electrique did online. I think it was, 4.8 stars I think I saw.
Yeah.
And it was a dupe, 30 mils for $33 or something. And he clicked on it, and the fragrance doesn't even exist. Like, totally, I don't even know how you do that, how a fragrance basically gets 5 stars and it's not even real. It's just a pigment of your imagination. But so you can't even go out there and get a clone. Lattafa, if you're watching this, please cook something up. I mean, y'all seem to be pretty good at making dupes, but I don't know, maybe Essential Obsessions could drop a inspired by or exact match of Blue Electrique. That would fly off the shelves, I think. But I don't know. Like he said, you got to check your sources. Once you smell it, I think a fair price for this for 100 mil, I would probably say anywhere up to like $250, probably, if you really, really like to smell this fragrance. But if you don't, then that's fine. But I will just warn you now, it's only 3 years removed from the retailers and the discounters, and it's already this expensive. Like, it's already appreciated that much. So imagine in the next 3 or 5 years how much more expensive it's going to be. I think this fragrance is kind of like a two-headed monster with the one Luminous Night in terms of two like phenomenal fragrances that have both been discontinued by designer brands and houses that fly off the shelves that people absolutely love. Even if this fragrance was readily available at your local Dillard's or Macy's, I think it would still be as popular. But unfortunately, people can't get their hands on it. And this is arguably a top 3 YSL fragrance across their entire catalog. Like, period. So, unfortunately, we don't have a link to drop to you in the comments. We don't have any exact places for you to go buy before they go sell out. Like, you just kind of got to stay posted. And if you find a good deal and you find a reputable source, then like Canyon did, and like I like to say in racing terms, you just got to lick the stamp and send it. Just got to put your money where your mouth is. Take the loss in the short term, because this fragrance is going to certainly be a win in the long run. So, be smart with your money and stay safe out there, because people are trying to scam you in the fragrance community, believe it or not. And maybe they'll be selling this fragrance for $1, like he has people on TikTok do lives about and promote. So,
yep.
Who knows? But overall, I'm just going to close. I'm just going to give just kind of my own personal rating. We've raved a lot about it, and I kind of want to end on a high note after kind of talking about the lack of availability. So just kind of be thinking 1 out of 10. I personally, in terms of designer fragrances and fragrances in general, I don't like to give out super, super high scores just willy-nilly. I think you have to earn it. But even from the decant that I own of this at home, like, I think this is, I'm going to say a 9.3. That just kind of popped in my head. I think it's one of the better designer fragrances ever made from one of the best designer houses there ever was and is. And it's a really, really great fragrance. Would you kind of agree with that?
Oh, yeah. YSL is definitely my favorite designer house by far.
Yeah.
By far.
They don't miss, except for the elixir. But we're not going to talk about that. Anywho, I think that's all for myself and for Canyon for this weekly review on YSL Blue Electrique. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to drop a comment, your opinions, your thoughts on this fragrance, and even any fragrances you want to see us review. We've been seeing the Lattafa suggestions, so keep them coming. But hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're on the road to 2.5K. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell so you never miss another Trevor Wester video from now until eternity pass. And we'll see you in the next one. God bless.